Hello and welcome to WION's exclusive interview with Shyam Saran, former Minister of Foreign Affairs. Welcome, Mr. Saran, and thank you for taking our time to talk to us.
Thank you for having me.
Right, so let's dive into the questions. So my first question to you is, what are the challenges for governments and business from cyber threats and global conflicts?
Well, this is a new domain. It is advancing very rapidly. So what governments are finding is that they are constantly playing catch-up. The technology is going so fast that regulation or any kind of, trying to administer this particular space is becoming much more challenging. And the second is that this technology is also creating many opportunities for criminal activities, for fraud. And, the governments are just not able to find ways in which they can control this. So if you look at the level of cyber crimes, I think the figure is something like, 10 trillion or more dollars per year being lost due to cyber fraud. So extremely challenging space, even while, of course, cyber capabilities are also creating many more opportunities for rapid economic development, for technological leapfrogging. I mean, you see that in India itself, how India has made tremendous strides in terms of its digital economy. The challenges are very, very widespread and of a nature that we have not faced before.
Right. How do you see governments and businesses overcome these, cyber threats in an era of rising geopolitical tensions?
Well, geopolitical tensions is something which is real, and I do not think that cyberspace can be insulated from geopolitical conflicts. At the most, what you can achieve is to try and manage this space, try and reduce the risks which are there being spawned by this cyberspace. The problem really is that much of the development that you see taking place today in cyberspace, take, for example, artificial intelligence, much of this is really the outcome of tremendous research and development taking place in a handful of major technological companies. The knowledge that you require, the kind of talent pool which you require, even to think in terms of, managing this space, I'm afraid the governments are behind, the private sector in this. So any kind of trying to manage the space, make the space as safe as possible, it can only be possible with very strong cooperation between the private sector and the state. That is not very much a natural kind of a partnership, because essentially, states try to control, try to regulate private sector. But here you have a situation where without the support of the private sector, without its active partnership, it is extremely difficult to manage this space.
From your point of view, do you see cyber attacks as the next frontier challenge in geopolitical standoffs?
No, I was just trying to make the point that when you say that cyber attacks are the new frontier, I think that frontier is already here. So it's no longer something that may happen in the future. It is something that is happening today and now. It has very much become part and parcel of, conflict situations. You've seen what happened in Lebanon with exploding, pagers. So even everyday devices can be weaponized today. So it's no longer a question of, trying to wait and see how this develops in the future. I think we have to recognize that the crisis is here and now. And the answer to this is beyond the capacity of any single state. Unless you have a collaborative kind of response by states, by, as I said, private sector, to this looming challenge, I'm afraid we are not going to make very much progress.
Right. Finally, can countries really work together to overcome cyber insecurity, and who should take the lead?
As I said, this is a global challenge which recognizes no national frontiers. It does not recognize any regional frontiers. And therefore, the only credible response to this has to be a global, cross-national response. Now, we have not been able to make much progress in this respect, but it would also not be correct to say that we have not made any progress in this respect. So I think the United Nations, by consensus, has adopted a global cyber crime law, which has not yet come into force. But the fact that all the countries of the world, despite all the conflicts dividing them, have been able to come together to negotiate this kind of a international legal instrument, I think is a very good sign. Recently, we had the Future Summit of the United Nations, and as part of that summit, we also had a global digital compact, again, something that has been agreed upon by all countries by consensus. And this is also something which would help in creating some of the norms that we need, some of the cross-cutting understandings that we need to be able to do a better job in managing this space.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Saran, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And sharing your insights on
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.